Out in the wild, life moves fast. To capture wildlife on camera, dedicated professionals stake out the harshest terrain, watching and waiting for the perfect shot. Their perseverance can reap rich rewards, images which take the breath away. But you don't have to spend months crouching in a hide to film amazing animal behavior. There's an army of holidaymakers and adventurers who stumble across incredible scenes and keep their cameras rolling. Combining the very best footage from the professionals and the amateurs sheds new light on life in the wild.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
It's an amazing thing to have captured.
Wildlife, raw, real, and caught in the act. In the wild, size doesn't account for spirit. They may be the size of a chihuahua, but teams of tiny banded mongooses take on even deadly cobras fearlessly. Cinematographer Rob Waldron was filming in Chobe, Botswana, when a group of mongooses had to face a far larger threat.
We were just filming close-ups and bits and pieces.
Suddenly, young lions began to stalk a troop of mongooses foraging in the grass.
Before I knew it, the whole scenario had erupted, and there were just lions and mongooses everywhere. It was like a cat and mouse chase. Go, go, go.
One mongoose is unable to escape, trapped between the lion's claws.
The lion got hold of the poor little creature, and we thought, well, it was going to be just a massacre. As soon as the lion released it from its claws for a second, this little mongoose started fighting back. Couldn't believe it. I started feeling great admiration. Here was this little tiny creature advancing on a fully grown lion, and lo and behold, the lion was backing off.
Facing fearlessly up to the lion with its sharp, tiny jaws, the mongoose backs away from its attacker and then disappears into a network of underground burrows.
That little mongoose changed everything because he started fighting back. It may have had its leg broken, but it was the victor in that battle of wills.
With the support of its family group, a mongoose can survive a broken limb. This tough little character may well live to fight another day.
Nature, as I found out, will teach me something new every day. And I learned a lot that day. I learned a lot about indomitability. The mongoose was not giving up. It wasn't going anywhere. It was trying to find any single advantage that would save its life.
Lions are without doubt Africa's most famous predator. Throughout the world, these regal cats are regarded as the kings of the beasts. And if lions are the kings of the land, then the baboons are the jesters of the treetops. But defending the troop is no laughing matter. Male baboons will attack anything that threatens their family, even lions. Wildlife cinematographer John Varty was filming a small band of juvenile lions when a large male baboon launched a single-handed attack. Apparently fearless, the baboon sends the three young lions scattering in every direction.
He doesn't move far from the trees. So he's got his escape route. He can jump up that tree at any time and back into safety. He knows exactly what he's doing. I was amazed that a baboon, is obviously a highly intelligent animal, would take such a risk.
Carnivore manager of the Johannesburg Zoo, Dominic Moss, believes the baboon knows what it's doing.
Baboons are incredibly well equipped in terms of defense. They have huge canine teeth, both on the top and bottom jaws. There is a very real and genuine risk for these lions of potential injury should they tackle with that baboon.
As the lion moves past him, he comes from behind, grabs the tail of the lion, and then shoots back. It must have been purely the game, the adrenaline rush. It's a high-risk business to pull a lion's tail.
Vultures, harbingers of death, devourers of rotting flesh. These scavengers may not be friendly with other predators, but they rarely end up on the menu themselves. Few animals would deign to dine on this feathery cleanup crew, least of all the tiny black-backed jackals that often compete for their leftovers. Which is why the scene captured by birdwatcher Peter Fillion was so bizarre.
There were some vultures bathing in the water. Suddenly a little black-backed jackal went for one of the vultures. In the past, I've seen jackal, chasing birds like doves and little quail finches, and actually succeeding in catching them. But I think a vulture is a bit big for him because I think they weigh about the same.
For ornithologist Dr. Andrew McKechnie, this behaviour is unprecedented.
I have never before seen this kind of interaction between a vulture and a jackal. They do occasionally get aggressive towards each other when they're competing for a carcass, but to see a jackal attack a vulture so persistently and just wear it down is something that I've never seen before. It looks very much like the jackal is actually intending to eat this vulture. I don't think it would have put in that much effort if it was simply a competition issue. Vultures in general are fairly aggressive birds. They've got beaks that are well suited to cutting through really thick skin and through bone and sinew. They are powerful, can do a lot of damage. This jackal is very lucky that it didn't lose ears or eyes or some other body parts.
These two animals appear to be evenly matched in size, but where the jackal is quick and agile, the vulture's bulk makes it awkward and ungainly on the ground. Because of its weight, it can't easily escape into the air. In this fight, the vulture's size is actually its fatal flaw, and the jackal knows just how to exploit it.
I think what's happening here is that a jackal, which is normally an opportunistic predator anyway, is taking that opportunism to an extreme level.
Most mammals make extraordinary parents. Large or small, these mothers must give their young everything they need to survive. Feeding, protecting, and teaching them is a full-time job. But for solitary animals like the leopard, it's one they must do alone. A female leopard must raise her cubs as a single parent, a tough task in the perilous African bush. Wildlife filmmaker John Varty has filmed many leopard mothers in his time and is well acquainted with their maternal instincts.
Leopard mothers bond very, very strongly with their cubs. And one of the most dangerous things you can do is go down into a den site, and you'll feel the full fury of a leopard when she comes out to defend those cubs.
Leopard dens are often well concealed by rock and brambles, making them virtually inaccessible to lions and hyenas. But there is one predator that can penetrate these defences.
We were filming this female leopard at Londolozi Game Reserve, and she had produced just one little cub. And we decided we would follow her hunting that day. When she came back from the hunt, she couldn't find the cub. And then, just below the den, she discovered this large python. And in the python's stomach was a little bulge. The leopard put two and two together immediately. The python is responsible for the loss of the cub. So she immediately attacked that python. The ball game had changed. Now the python was in danger. So the python did what pythons do. It disgorged the meal, which happened to be her little cub. Once she got the cub, she wanted to remove all chance of any other hyena or rival predator getting that cub. She ate that cub.
Predator expert Dominic Moss gives his take on the tragedy.
What you're looking at is her trying to get rid of the smell. Foreign smells like a baby animal, blood, anything that's different from the norm will attract attention. It'll attract attention from other leopards, it'll attract attention from other predators. Trying to quantify exactly how much of it is emotion and how much of it is natural instinct to carry on with life is very, very difficult. I don't doubt for a moment that she does feel pain, she is emotional in some way, but very difficult to tell exactly what the emotions are.
It remains today one of the most fascinating sequences that I ever managed to film with leopards.
Elephants, like leopards, are devoted parents. Infant elephants are guarded not only by their 4-ton mothers, but also by a network of babysitters within the breeding herd. Few predators risk attacking their fiercely protected progeny. But predation is not the only threat in the African bushveld. Drought may be far more deadly. Adult elephants can drink over 200 litres of water a day, more than 100 times the daily requirement of a human being. During a drought, herds may be forced to travel many kilometres between food and water, and even the youngest calves have no choice but to follow. On a houseboat safari in Chobe, Botswana, Rob Wishart learned just how tough life for African elephants is becoming.
It was midday, it was blazingly hot, in the mid-40s to upper 40s. There was an abundance of elephants on the river coming down to drink. And I focused in on the calf. And the calf was being gently herded along by its mother, until they got to about 50 meters from the water's edge. The calf couldn't walk anymore, and you will see that the calf falls over and stumbles. And this seemed to trigger the mother into a rage. She started kicking and pushing this calf. And the calf just couldn't walk anymore in this blazing heat. The calf fell over numerous times. She kicked and she kicked and she kicked. Well, we thought this was very un-elephant-like behavior. The mother's reaction to the calf goes against all what I've seen and what I've believed.
Resident elephant expert for Mashatu Game Reserve, Janetta Salia, sees this behaviour in a different light.
What it looks like is a baby that, because of the drought, is becoming weak and actually cannot make the journey anymore. So it's not an aggressive act. It doesn't look like an aggressive act. It looks like a desperate attempt from the mother's side. She's trying to pick it up, trying to get it back on its feet in order to make the rest of the journey to get to water, and the baby's just too weak to do so.
The most likely cause of this incident was that these elephants have to trek for literally tens of kilometers every day to get to the water. This poor little calf couldn't walk anymore. It might have walked 50 kilometers that day, and it was almost at the finishing line and it collapsed. In that environment where they are really struggling.
Northern Botswana has the largest elephant population on Earth. Over 100,000 of them are transforming the landscape, with serious consequences for other wildlife. The death of this calf may seem tragic, but events like this are needed to help keep Botswana's elephant population under control. In May of 2008, ocean safari operator Rainer Schimpf set out to sea with his clients. This part of the South African coast is rich in marine wildlife, but they chanced on a rarely seen spectacle.
On that particular day, we were out to hunt for sardines. It was the sardine run time. But also we were aware for years there is a rumor going on that the orcas are coming into the bay to hunt for dolphins particularly. And ever since I heard that, whenever we had the chance being out there, we look around for orcas. Out at sea, it's even more difficult to see an orca doing an actual kill than it probably is to go to Serengeti or Kalahari to see a lion kill. It's just a vast, wide open ocean out there, and it's very difficult to actually locate the right spot and to be there at the right moment. We found a small pod of dolphins with about 50 animals. And we followed that pod for a while and then realized that they were really exhausted and that they were kind of behaving funny. And then out of a sudden we saw the first fin, and very soon realized that orcas were following that very pod of dolphins.
Rainer soon realized that this was a family pod of orcas with a young calf in tow.
One dolphin swam towards us, on his side, badly hurt, and basically swam towards the boat in between the orca and us.
As they watched, the hunt began. The orcas started to attack the injured dolphin.
But instead of killing him instantly and eating it and swimming on, they basically kept it alive and played around with it.
The hunt is really a life lesson. By watching and participating with its parents, the orca calf is learning how to make a kill.
They swam under it, breached with it, they tried to hit it with its tail, they drowned it. The most amazing scene was definitely when the orca breached with the dolphin in his mouth.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. What a shot.
And that happened a couple of times. to be out there in the ocean and to witness this firsthand, it's an unbelievable feeling, and it's obviously one-of-a-kind experience.
Whether for mothers in the ocean or mums of the bushveld, teaching young predators to hunt is compulsory. For cheetahs, this means perfecting a high-speed, low-contact hunting strategy. Instead of wrestling well-armed animals to the ground, cheetahs catch their prey at full tilt, using a well-placed trip to take their target down. But for cheetah cubs, getting this right takes practice.
Cheetah do a lot of catching of young prey, and then they give them to the cubs, and the cubs learn with these small gazelles.
The cheetah John Varty filmed in the Masai Mara chose a supersized meal for her cubs, a fully grown Thompson's gazelle.
When that gazelle jumped up, my first thought was, these cubs are far too small for this gazelle. But the little male ran and he jumped on the back of that gazelle. But he hung on there, and eventually he got it down, and then to my amazement, he went to the throat and gave it a throttling bite. I wouldn't have thought first he'd have the courage, or the strength, or the knowledge to go to that throat.
Despite the cub's young age and tiny size, it has already learned how to unbalance its target at a run and quickly disable it before it can fight back. This low-contact hunting strategy is so effective that cheetahs have an even higher kill success rate than lions. But what happens when a high-speed chase simply isn't an option? Tony Ferry was watching from his vehicle in Kruger Park when a coalition of cheetahs was forced to improvise.
The cheetahs caught this wildebeest right in front of my car and suddenly sprang into action, and there was a big commotion.
In the dense bush, a high-speed chase is virtually impossible. To take this wildebeest down, the cheetahs are resorting to lion-like hunting techniques, trying to wrestle their prey to the ground using brute force alone. But unlike lions, these cheetahs are featherweights, built for flight, not fight.
It took them about 10 minutes to bring the wildebeest down to the floor. The cheetahs must have been particularly hungry to try and catch an animal of this size and put themselves at risk of injury. It was quite a battle. They normally go for much smaller prey.
The risks are very real. The wildebeest is actually trampling the cheetah underfoot,